Good evening and welcome to NYNJPA Weather, your weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm meteorologist Stephen DiMartino. Well, high pressure is in control throughout the entire Northern Mid-Atlantic with tranquil conditions. Now, the severe threat that is going to be coming up for the Northern Mid-Atlantic is not of the severe thunderstorm variety. Instead, it looks like we're dealing with our first real true nor'easter of the fall season, and this one looks like it's going to be rather powerful. An area low pressure is currently moving into Indiana, will move towards the Ohio Valley by tomorrow morning, and then start to redevelop off the Delaware and Virginia coast, basically over what's called the Delmarva Peninsula. This type of transition energy is called a Miller B storm. Basically what that means is that an area low pressure and the upper level disturbance with it moves into the Ohio Valley or Tennessee River Valley and then transfers its energy to the coast because of the negative NAO block that is currently building right now. So what type of impacts can we expect with this storm? Well, let's take a look at the water vapor and see exactly how this storm plays out. Well, here we have our water vapor, and I circled the upper level disturbance. That is rather impressive for this time of year. It's a polar disturbance, and that's important. We're going to see that a lot as we move through the winter months. So this polar disturbance is dropping south and it's moving towards the Ohio River Valley. By tomorrow morning, again, I have a little low there. That's the low in the Ohio River Valley. Now that low pressure center is going to jump or transfer its energy to the Mid-Atlantic coast. And as a result, by tomorrow evening, an area low pressure is going to develop off the Delaware coast and then track over the New Jersey coastal waters Thursday night into Friday morning. Now there are several interesting impacts I'm going to discuss in just a moment as that low pressure center is lifting north. But notice it cuts through eastern Long Island and cuts through central Connecticut, and then by Friday evening it's already in New England. So this is going to be a fast moving coastal storm, which is great news for any coastal flooding worries because the time period of the winds driving into the coast via northeasterly winds is going to be limited. And actually, when this storm really intensifies, winds will be from the northwest, driving water away from the coast, which is excellent news and should limit coastal flooding for most locations, with a few differences in, let's say, the northern shore of Long Island, for example, and parts of New York Battery. Those locations could still be influenced because of those strong northwesterly winds, but that's going to be far and few between. So let's take a look at a skew T for Pennsylvania, because there's an important point. There's some noise going on the internet about snow, and I want to kind of put it to rest. This is the skew T model guidance from the NAM model for tomorrow night for northeastern Pennsylvania, specifically Scranton-Wilkes-Barre. The reason why I'm using this skew T is, first of all, it's pretty much the same as what you're seeing under European model guidance, GFS, and so on and so forth. So it gives a pretty good representation of what the model guidance is suggesting for tomorrow night. Now, there is some talk out there of snow for the Pocono Mountains above 1,500 feet and for New England. Let me say this. The threat for snow is very small. I'm going to show you why. Is there a potential for it? Yes, there is. How much lifting you're going to need to get that snow? Let me show you the problem with that type of forecast. This is the forecast zoomed in, and what I want you to pay attention to is, here's your forecast. Your red line is your temperature, and your dew point, of course, is your dotted line here. Now, 1,500 to 2,000 feet is anywhere, say, about 450 meters to about 650 meters. So that's important to see on the side here, so you kind of get the idea where you're at. You're, let's say, between 950 and 900 millibars. Your coldest temperatures below freezing for tomorrow night into Friday morning for northeastern Pennsylvania would be, if you take this line right here at 0, see that 0 line, you take it all the way up, your temperatures do not fall below freezing until you're over 800 millibars. Why is that important? Well, basically, in order for it to snow, and snow heavy, you would need tremendous amount of lifting. Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible. We've seen freak occurrences like that before. In fact, we saw it last year with one storm where it produced over 5 inches of snow, and I believe some areas got up to 9 inches of snow. It was a huge surprise. So is it possible? Yes. Extremely isolated. You need the lifting at just the right time, just the right place. So I'm going to be doing live coverage tomorrow just in case that happens. But the amount of lifting you would need to get your temperatures to fall from 3 degrees Celsius to below 0 degrees Celsius would be a significant lifting apparatus. You would need some intense lifting. Right now, I really don't see that happening. Now, if you take this forecast up to, let's say, the Albany district or northern New England, Vermont, let's say Burlington, perfect. I would completely go along with that. Temperatures are going to be more than cold enough down to 900 millibars. Your lifting is certainly going to be there because your low pressure system will mature and it will be the strongest when it gets up to that point. And then, yeah, then you could see snow. But right now, I don't think that this threat is going to be a significant problem for northeastern Pennsylvania or the southern Hudson Valley. What I do think, though, is that, yeah, you could see a few flurries mixed in from time to time within the rain. But again, we'll keep an eye on it, but it's going to need a lot of lifting in order for it to happen. So heading back to the forecast again, Thursday night into Friday, I think the heaviest rain is going to be from 5 p.m. Thursday through about 3 a.m. Friday for the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan areas. For southern New Jersey and the Philadelphia metropolitan area, because the low pressure center is still getting its act together and the rain shield is still developing, I'm expecting anywhere from a half an inch to an inch of rain. From New York City, let's say from Monmouth County, New Jersey, and that points to the west. From that point through New York City, including northeastern Pennsylvania and southwestern Connecticut, and up into Ohio Valley, that's where the heaviest rainfall will be, 1 to 2 inches in New York City and northeastern Pennsylvania, 2 to 3 inches over parts of the Hudson Valley due to some mesoscale lifting with the mountains, and also the slow pressure center. By the time it gets to that point, by the time the comma head precipitation gets to that point, the low pressure center will be at a mature stage, and that's when the best lifting and heaviest rainfall will fall. For points along eastern Long Island and eastern Connecticut, it's kind of a double-edged sword here. You're going to get into a dry slot, which means you'll see a break in your rainfall. But then, as the low pressure slows down over New England, you'll get whipped around by scattered showers revolving around this low all the way until Friday night and possibly even early Saturday morning. So with that in place, you can range anywhere from a half an inch to an inch of rain, possibly an inch and a half of rain in some isolated locations, especially for northeastern Connecticut. Thank you for trusting in NYNJPA Weather as your weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. Now, we will have live coverage tomorrow evening starting at 5 p.m. of this dangerous storm. In the meantime, stay safe out there.